how did the idea of spring blossoms come to my mind? Basically, I realized that people in Bombay don't have enough of choice in terms of florists and gifting, and that's how I actually started thinking, because people don't buy flowers so much for their house as much as they want for gifting. So in that case, what I realized was that people were not interested in coming to the florist shop. Orders were just coming on the telephones. And in telephones, you were not able to show the picture or explain to people what you would send. That changed when I put up spring-blossoms.com, because I could show them the pictures, I could talk to them with the product in mind, because it was a gifting product, and at the same time there was no interest in coming and seeing the product themselves. And that is how the whole idea of putting the florist shop on the website started off in 2004, when we were not so well connected. Essentially, it was all telephone orders. So that's how spring blossoms came to my mind specifically. Okay, the initial challenges were definitely payment, because people were very hesitant to make online payments. In fact, I had one of the first few direct payment gateways on my website, and since we were not so well connected in terms of internet connectivity, there was a problem. That was a challenge for me. Other than that, I didn't really face a challenge on the website. The standard Indian challenges of setting up a business, those are all standard to everyone. Getting through little red tape, municipal problems, and all those things were standard. Those I got over the standard normal way. But it was this one that I had to work on specifically, of convincing people. And for that, I already had existing telephone customers, because we were existent before we started the website. So we had to convince the customers, talk to them personally, explain to them, and then word of mouth helped automatically after that. And people were then more and more comfortable making your payment on the credit card, because that was the essence of the website, to get the payment while making the sale. Because otherwise this business problem is getting the payments, since it is a gifting business, as I told you. So it would go into credits and credits and credits, and it was very unaccounted for, the number of credits that we were keeping with people. So that was my challenge that I got over. Essentially, the service provided by Spring Blossoms is that I'll get your flowers with additional gifts like cakes and chocolates and wines across to anyone in the country within a span of a few hours, maybe 4 to 7 hours at the maximum. So you can do a same-day delivery, you can be on a different time zone anywhere in the world, and then you suddenly remember an occasion, or you just want to get a message across, and I know there's more connectivity now and you can just lift the phone and call someone, but it is not the same as being able to actually express your emotion. And I think that is what flowers does brilliantly, expressing an emotion. That what you send kind of conveys your emotion. Like if you are going to send a large bunch of red roses, it definitely means love and romance. Similarly, if you send something very very soothing and pastel, you want to express an emotion of maybe regret, maybe sympathy, then that goes across very beautifully. It's not the same as just lifting the phone and wishing someone or saying someone. And I think that is something that gets through only fresh flowers and nothing else. So the essence of my business is being able to get across your emotion to someone through fresh flowers designed beautifully for that occasion within 4 to 7 hours within a day. Essentially, my staff is all trained by me, because we are in a creative field. So they have been with me for a long time, and the reason, I think the main reason of them remaining motivated is that you have to be personal and personable with your staff, which essentially means that they all have different kinds of social needs. You can't put all of them into a fixed mold and apply same rules to everybody. There has to be that little personal touch when you're managing a business that is creative, the way mine is. And that is where I think I have succeeded and managed to hold most of my staff with me. Of course, there have been ambitious staff who have wanted to start off on their own and go off on their own. I have encouraged them whenever they have wanted to, whenever they've expressed desires to do that. And I always keep someone else in training also, so that if I lose someone, I always have someone else who's willing to take that over. So I think those are the two essentials for keeping a good relationship and motivation in your staff. The second thing, the third thing actually for me is creativity. Now I have to fire their imagination constantly, because creativity is something that requires inputs, and it comes naturally with a good atmosphere around, but also it needs to be fired specifically. So for that I will go look for different designs, or I'll look for different types of flowers that come in, or I'm looking at the net for what is available abroad, which they may not be exposed to, but then you show them on the net and you try and make designs. So there's a continuous interaction with staff for coming up with different designs creatively. So I would also call that very much part of motivation. The florist industry has terrific growth in India, because we are such a large country with so many people, and Indians are very, very emotional people. So like I mentioned earlier, emotions is what flowers get across, so you can imagine how much scope there is here. But at the same time, I see it as a growth of different niche players, whether it is city-wise, whether it is designs-wise. It's not going to be just one big humongous website that takes care of everyone and have 7 crores or 10 crores turnover. I don't think that works with fresh flowers at all. And so the growth is there, but the growth is there in terms of becoming more and more specialized and well recognized in your own niche area, in your own field, and your turnover keeps going up with that, because the market just keeps on growing. I think that's one of the major growth I see in the florist industry. Like maybe a few decades back, if you remember, there was not much choice in the food and beverage industry. It was hardly there. I mean, you probably just had a vada pav, and if you went out, you had the typical Punjabi food. But today it's like a completely different scenario in the food and beverage. It's firing on all cylinders. I think that's what's going to happen to the flowers industry also. It's going to become different, where even small offices want to keep some very beautiful designer bouquet on their little table, even though it's a small company. Or they wish to send out bouquets which they never even thought of doing earlier. So in this way it will keep on growing. And in different places also you see flowers coming in which were never there, like in movies, TV serials. There's a lot of flower styling going on. If you notice, every serial will have many more bouquets hanging around than they used to earlier. So those kind of things are going to take up the flower industry. Other than that is of course the wedding industry, which is also growing by leaps and bounds and is very much intricately linked with the flower industry. So growth is there, a lot of growth. Competition to me is it's a way of growth. It's definitely a way of growth, and in some ways I find it just a myth, because I feel competition has to be there. A customer has to have choice, and the more choice the customer has, the more motivated me as an entrepreneur I become. Because then I'm trying to improve my product, my service, simply to better my service to whoever wants to buy my service and my products. So from that point of view, I think competition is, for me, competition means staying focused on my product, my designs, my services, giving my best to the customer, and I think that sums competition from my viewpoint. We started functioning across cities because I have developed a lot of good affiliate florists across major cities in India, with whom I have long-standing relationships now. So I design bouquets that will go specifically in that particular city. For example, like in Bangalore, you will get a much nicer quality of roses, or roses grow close to Bangalore. So obviously rose designs will be the best in Bangalore. Similarly, say in South Kerala, there are different kinds of orchids called Annie Black's orchids, or there are more anthuriums in that part, more tropical. So if you design bouquets that use up their local flowers, then you're automatically improving your service and your product line also. Rather than having one standard bouquet that can, go across India, you're limiting your choices. So designs are made for different cities, and then also I take into account the fact that the bouquet has to be delivered. So designs are made so that delivery is possible, because there are certain designs that you can't deliver at all. So there's no point in making a design like that. I find that on some of the websites where designs are simply not doable properly. I mean, they're not able to be delivered, because in India we have restrictions on delivery. Public transport is not as easily available. Types of transportations are also restricted in different cities and different towns. Like there'll be only mobile transport, say for instance in a city, in a state like Goa. So in Panji or Margao, if I design a bouquet that is going to go by mobile, you can imagine what is going to happen to it. It has to be different from the bouquet that will go, say, by van or by a taxi in Mumbai. So those are the different ways that I specialize in functioning in different parts of India, and function across India in various cities. Qualities of an entrepreneur, I think first quality of an entrepreneur is to have belief in yourself. You have to be passionate about what you do. You have to really enjoy and like what you do. And entrepreneurship is also about having a very practical approach, and definitely having basic and very sound commerce principles, because otherwise other than that, you're headed for a fall. If you just dream about something without applying any practical knowledge, it's not going to work. So for new entrants, I would say satisfaction comes from your own passion and not from figures. Be practical and keep going. There is only success ahead.